the question. How many of you guys think that fear is bad? You're right for the most part. Today I'm going to talk about the scientific part of fear, why we have it, and the good part, the bad side, and how to overcome it. So what is fear? Fear is a chain of reactions that occur from a stressful situation. You see something that you might think is going to hurt you, and then it ends with the chemical releases in your body, like sweaty palms, palpitations, tense muscles, etc. And fear is 100% autonomic, which means that you don't choose fear, like it just happens. It's not like you see a bee and you say, oh, I'm gonna get scared. No, like, it just happens. There's 5 main parts of the brain that deal with fear. The names are a little hard to pronounce. The first part is the thalamus, which decides where to send the incoming data from your body to the sensory cortex, which is the second part. That interprets the data and it sends it to the hippocampus, which adds context to whatever you're seeing. So it does this by going into memories in your brain of times where you've seen this situation before to determine whether it's bad or not. Then it sends it over to the amygdala, which determines if the situation is a possible threat or not. Then it sends it over to the hypothalamus, which is the lizard brain. So in this case, your brain is ready to go into fight or flight mode, which basically you're either gonna fight whatever's in front of you or you're gonna get out. So the good side of fear, if we didn't have any fear, it would be bad because most likely all of us would be dead because we wouldn't have any sense of urgency or safety or judgment. For example, whenever we cross in a street, we have some type of urgency that we don't want to get hit by a bus or anything like that. And if someone were to not have any fear, they wouldn't care if they got hit or not because they don't hear that. So it would just be very chaotic and whatnot. Also, people would be very careless and unmotivated because there wouldn't be any fear of consequences. You wouldn't care if you didn't go to school, you wouldn't care if you were disrespectful to your parents, you wouldn't care about anything because you wouldn't have fear of whatever consequences that might implicate to. You wouldn't care about getting a job and making money because you wouldn't care about the consequences. On the other side, having too much fear is bad because, hold up. I'm confused. So some people have, okay, let me start over. So having little fear is bad, but having too much fear is also bad. Some people have it, their brains, they act in a little different way, so they experience fear in a more intense way, and they experience fear in an unrealistic way. Their perception of fear is intensified. So they're pretty much afraid of everything, and that's bad because their life is, it impairs their life, and so they shouldn't aim to get rid of their fear, but they should aim to control it. And how do you control it? Well, I did some research on how doctors treat their patients that have fear or anxiety or anything like that. And so it's actually kind of simple. So what they do is they use graduated exposure, which means that say they grab a client that has a fear of sharks. So they might start off by showing them a picture of a shark, then a video of a shark, then I don't know, make them think of a shark. So they start little by little. And what this does is you start off by seeing a picture of a shark, right? So you sit with the situation and then you wait for the fear to come up and then you sit with the fear and then it goes away it doesn't go away completely, but it lowers by something called habituation, which is the ability of humans to adapt to different situations. So you're eventually going to get used to the fear, and you're going to change your perception on it, and it's not going to scare you as much. But on the other side, you can't just jump straight into Okay, so if you're afraid of sharks, you're not gonna go into a cage with the shark. Like, that's not smart. You have to graduate it up. So I want to end by encouraging you guys to, if you pick a fear, something that you're afraid of, and gradually move your way up to it and overcome it.